Good day to all our esteemed viewers. If you are watching, kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel, on notifications, drop your comment and then click the like button, like, and also share with others. There's a breaking news, very bad news for all Nigerians. Donald Trump has finally struck Nigeria. 14% increase on any imported goods to the US. There's a very, very big trouble for all Nigerians after the NNPC also increased fuel. Mr. Jeno Michaels, where do we go from here as Nigerians? In the midst of poverty, Donald Trump has finally struck Nigeria once again.
I can tell you, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was warned before now to stay away with anything getting confrontational with Donald Trump, because Donald Trump have already looked at some certain things he wants to do, and it happens that Nigeria as a nation fall on the victim side. I'm not saying on the victim side, based on what the policies of Donald Trump want to have for Africa. Nigeria has not met that standard, and it's not Donald Trump's fault in any way. I can remember the second time of Donald Trump, how Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Buhari, and the rest of them, financed Biden's campaign as at that time. The records are still there, very much there, but I don't want to use that as a reference point, but what I'm trying to say is that, I think to an extent, Nigeria has not been able to launder their image properly within the international communities. As a result of that, they are trying, there's a bridge, between Nigeria and American allies in terms of bilateral relationship. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not actually deemed it fit to show a strong democratic leadership in Nigeria, especially with what is happening, and around. People are saying, why is Donald Trump always going to France? I think he has just jet out to Bola Ahmed Tinubu has also just jet out to France. Why is he always going to France? I remember there's something that played out when the French president paid a country visit to Oval Office under Trump. You saw what happened. Why are you using a proxy to appeal to Donald Trump on issues that are bordering around Sahel and other things? This tells you that presently now there's some level of the marketing of Nigeria as a state before the international communities. And I can tell you that in the same issue that has to do with ban or imposition of extreme tariff on some countries in Africa too, we are not affected. I can tell you, the guy from Burkina Faso was not affected in all the Trump trying to do. Don't look at those nations that has not been able to perform minimally in terms of providing democracy and leadership, and Nigeria is topping the chart at that level currently now. And with the way it is now, I don't think that Donald Trump will want to fine-tune any relationship with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that will bring an end to Bola Ahmed Tinubu's possibly second coming in office. But if you look at the issue of tariff, it has to do with image laundering. Who is defending Nigeria? Who is marketing Nigeria? The president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has not shown enough charisma in trying to revive or maintain, or even engage or break through in some international policies that is seen to be affecting Nigeria directly in terms of what the Western powers or the world laws want to do or want to achieve. Nobody is defending Nigeria in that regard. So the perception of the international community under Donald Trump, the international policies, it has not been that fruitful.
Mr. Chinedu, there will be a lot of poverty now in Nigeria because after now that fuel price have been increased with the 14% tariff that Donald Trump has struck upon Nigeria, Nigeria is already poor. Nigeria is the headquarters of poverty in the whole world now as I'm speaking. Are you not thinking that this may cause again another high level of hunger in this nation?
Yes, I think it's going to step up. The level of hunger is going to step up. But I can tell you, necessity is the mother of invention. It tells you that Nigeria needs to actually look inwards. Nigerian government and Nigerians themselves need to look inwards and see what they are going to come up with. So the burden of those tariff, 14% tariff on Nigeria, of course, it's going to cause more extreme poverty, but it's also a necessity where a lot of people are going to really sit down deeply and come up with something that can be able to stand as a force to checkmate the excesses of international policies on the country. If that is not done, then of course we are going to dive more deeper into poverty, scarcity, and the rest of them. Because I can tell you that America has a lot of influence around the world currently now, and Nigeria is part of American influence. But the way it is now, is what I'm actually thinking. It's not necessary you must go to France and begin to beg somebody to, on your behalf to talk to the President Trump on your behalf. No, it's because you have heard, you are not getting it right, and they know. So the more sanction these things are attracting, the more Nigeria goes down, and they go to the extent that it will begin to transform into revolution. It will begin to transform into mass protest. It will begin to transform into solidarity. It will begin to transform into rallies, and that rallies will be targeted on the government, and it will get to a point that the international community will not have any other thing than to look deeply into the issues of Nigeria and possibly seek for disintegration or a change of government.
And now we've seen, for example, when he became the president of the US, he said that he will go hard against any country that is financing terrorism. And what we saw he did, he struck immediately Somalia. Now we see what the Fulani herdsmen are doing in Nigeria. I don't think that this may make Donald Trump to be looking at that Nigeria may be sponsoring this kind of Fulani to annihilate the indigenous people of the land.
Of course, they already have the record with you. You can see when the revelation come from the Congress, there was a revelation attached to US aid, the funding, how it's been diverted to issue of Boko Haram and the rest of them, and of course the alarming rate of which Christians are being killed in Nigeria, and the continuous invasion of Fulani herdsmen, ISWAP, Boko Haram on the southern part of the country. So if the world peace makers are looking at it that direction, that if they don't intervene, it will metamorphose, or the multiplying effect will be very disastrous to Africa and other countries of the world. So the next thing they are going to do, like you said, is to target massive bombardment of terrorist camps and terrorist positions within the north and the southern part of the country.
Now, let's leave that. Let's look at what's happening in Nigeria. Edo State, the vigilantes has been banned. The governor was under pressure to ban them, and he has banned vigilantes in Edo State. And the governor was also in Kano to meet with Kano State governor for peace. But then people are asking, the southern governors, are they slaves in quote to the northern governors? Because when the Fulani herdsmen are killing people in Ondo, in Ebonyi, no northern governor ever come to beg or to meet southern governors. What do you have to say about the country called Nigeria, the way it's presently structured?
I can tell you presently now, like I said this morning, kudos to Mazin Namdekano, kudos to Simon Epa, and kudos to Yoruba nation agitators, who have foreseen these things coming, and it has come to the level that even the government themselves have recognized they can no longer do anything. I can tell you the news broke out, I think yesterday, where the DSS boss said Nigeria we can no longer guarantee safety of Nigerians. That Nigerians should go ahead and defend themselves. That is the DSS director making that kind of statement. That's the DSS director saying that. That's a savvy DSS boss making it very clearly to over 250 million Nigerians, for instance, that they do not have the capacity anymore to defend the new citizens of this country. That everybody should look for a way to defend themselves. And he was not arrested. He was not picked. And when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said a similar thing, was he arrested? Was he picked? So if it has come to the point that the government themselves have acknowledged that they cannot longer defend, Nigerians, that means we are not safe. What it means is that I think at this point they should be thinking towards peaceful dissolution of Nigeria, balkanization of Nigeria, division of Nigeria, so that maybe we can be able to sustain life. Another alternative to it is restructuring and regional system of government. Outside that, Nigeria will continue to face this kind of threat often and on and on. So the state of Nigeria now is something that the system themselves has automatically acknowledged that they have failed. And the likes of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the rest of them who has foreseen this in years and started earlier campaign of awareness on the activities of Islamization and Boko Haram in Nigeria need to be celebrated.
Now, let's also go to this another angle. Donald Trump's government seems now to focus more on Africa. Terrorists will be wiped out, and people that want self-independence, they will be encouraged. How does that kind of come to you? Because the Biafrans seem to be very happy with Donald Trump, that under them there may be more protection from against Islamists. I mean, Boko Haram, all those people. Are you not thinking that this government may finally grant the wish of people like the Biafra, the Oduduwa Republic people?
Of course, it's something that everybody is praying and hoping that Donald Trump himself will be able to look at the issue of Africa, and how Africa can be liberated, so that to reduce the burden on U.S. government, U.S. influence, U.S. allies, and of course U.S. agencies. By bringing about or encouraging balkanization of Nigeria, is going to go a long way to reduce the security and economic burden the entire Nigeria has had on, of course, America, and other continents of the world, especially the issue of insecurity and killing of Christians. So that is a welcome development, and it has always been a welcome development if actually Donald Trump can able to look at that direction and grant and sign, and by fiat, either hook or crook, order for the immediate recognition of Biafra as a nation, and other people in that line too around the world. So that is just what it should be, and I know that definitely a lot of things are already going on in that direction, and I hope it will become something physical and something everybody will come to acknowledge.
As we are closing, there's another line of thought which said that what the Igbos always wanted is the presidency. That if you give the Igbos presidency and a seaport, looking at also international airport, they will abandon their Biafra ideology. Do you think that the presidency is enough to placate the Igbos in saying no, we're not leaving Nigeria since we made no president?
The issue of presidency is for Nigeria. The issue of Biafra is for Biafrans. Anybody that want to continue with the contesting election or feel that he can struggle for the position of the president, okay, he can go ahead and do it. There's no issue with that. That is for Nigeria. But when it comes to the issue of Biafra, of course, Biafra remains, the hope of over 80 million Biafrans all over the world, including those who are already serving under Nigerian government. So the Biafran government is different, and the Nigerian government is different. So when it comes to issue of Biafra, we treat it. We cannot use just 8 years to stop, a nation that want to succeed, that want to be sovereign for more than 100 millions of years. That is not possible. So you cannot use somebody's 8 years to compare with freedom of the people. No, it's not comparable.
Now, finally, as we close, the only way there can be peace in Nigeria is if the Igbos agree to see the Fulanis as a superior tribe. Do you ever think that a time will come? Against this is an opinion of a Fulani man this morning here. But do you ever think that the Igbos will ever see the Fulanis as a superior tribe?
In the first place, the Fulanis are not indigenous people. they are invaders. Igbos are indigenous people. So I don't know how the justification for that. If we engage ourselves in conventional, war or in guerrilla warfare, in whichever way, I don't think a Fulani man will conquer an Igbo man in all ramification. So what they're just saying is just a means of telling the whole world that they must Islamize people who has already been destined with their own way religion. It's not possible. And Igbos has been, you see Igbos resistance as, as a loss, a conquest loss, a damage on their ego. The anything that can make an average Fulani politician or man happy is to see that Igbos are conquered. But that is not going to be possible. So the drive to see that achieved has always been what has been manipulated by the Nigerian government and the system using Fulani, tendencies to govern the country. And of course, you can see the resistance. That resistance is why we see the likes of Simon and Mazen Namdekano, being attacked by the Arab world who are already sponsoring Islamization in Nigeria.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming and God bless. And I'll give you now.
I want to see Mike. Hold up. So we never